Hey, what's up, guys? Trey here with Chris at Trey White
at PC Bach.
Let me get this thing off. We're going to do 540-15 a little different today.
You need the selfie stick.
I know it. This feels so old school. I like trying to stretch my arm out.
This is like 540-15 week negative one.
Yeah. We were really taking a step back from
We've actually regressed.
Way regressed.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this here on Meerkat, what's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, what's up? If you're watching us on, do we post it anywhere else?
No.
No. What's up? So today I'm going to pass it over to Chris. We're going to do something a little different. I'll let him explain it, and then the rest of us will chime in as we need to.
All right, cool. So again, I'm Chris. We're 540.co, and this is a special edition of our 540-15 weekly Meerkat sessions. For those of you that may not be aware, there was an RFQ that came out last week from GSA for something called Agile Delivery Services, or ADS, for a blanket purchase agreement. It's to support the 18F organization and to provide Agile services for them. And we've been working on this for a week. The actual submission is due at noon on Friday. We're going to be done ahead of that for sure. But we thought this week for our 540-15 session, it would be fun to talk to the team about how the last week has gone, what sorts of things they've worked on, how they've enjoyed the process. One of the things that we've done, here at our team is, made sure that we're, following best practices as far as Agile development is concerned, but we've also tried to have some fun, and it's been a really good opportunity for our team to work together and collaborate. So I want to give everybody on the team a chance to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to go back to Trey. I'm going to start with our technical architect. So I'm going to flip the machine around.
You got me? Kind of free-forming it here. I think it's as we looked at the challenge of trying to build the prototype the way that GSA phrased it, there are several different types of roles that we wanted to try to have someone fill in or do similar type tasks for this challenge. So what I did, and I did kind of wear a couple hats, but it's as you expect, I did kind of that architect role. So as we looked at the challenge and the idea, which, by the way, for those of you that aren't aware, had to do with interacting with some APIs provided by OpenFDA. We looked at the options, and the ones that we landed on had to do with drugs. They also had some around food, some around equipment, but around drugs, we were interested in some of the negative reactions that people could potentially have with either a brand of a drug or a type of ingredient. For instance, if you wanted to search something that has, the negative side effects of, we always use ibuprofen as an example. It's a pretty mild one, but you get the idea. You could search for that, or you could search for Advil, and then you'd start to get, based on the number of occurrences, a count of some of the negative reactions that you would have there. So as an architect, I helped determine how we want to interact with the OpenFDA APIs, which parts of the system we can call those APIs directly for, and then also if we're going to add some contextual data with it, which we are, we needed to harvest some of that. So I actually have an architectural diagram pulled up. I don't know if it works on Meerkat to show that, or if it's already on there, but one of the things that we did is interacting with the OpenFDA APIs, we harvest out certain information, and most of it is just those negative reactions to those ingredients, those brands. What we found is that those reactions are very medically terse. I don't know if that's the right word, but they're very difficult to define and understand. So we wanted to marry that data with a couple of dictionaries. One's just a normal dictionary, WordNick. So if you put in the word, if one of the symptoms was pain, that's very common, then obviously WordNick is going to have some of those definitions for you. However, some of them are not as easy to understand. I don't know, a good example, one would be like, one that I learned was called rhinorrhea. Chris loves this one.
My favorite.
This is a very fancy way of saying you have a very runny nose. But, a lot of people would know that. So we also look up a medical dictionary to find some of those more advanced terms. And still yet there are terms that do not hit in either of those dictionaries. So inside our app, we provide the ability to create custom definitions as you run across something that does not have one, to create a plain English description of it. And then very similar to, say, like an urban dictionary would have it, there's a chance to vote up, vote down definitions that made the most sense to you. So some of the team worked on building the user interface for that. Some of the team worked on building the back end and the APIs to pull some and allow for the orchestration and the calling of that data. And then also the tests that run on that. So I worked a lot on the back end, building those APIs. I can actually show you an example if we want to do another screen share. I don't know if this is typically the plan, but on some of our, there's Ryan Rhea, our buddy. If we wanted to create a new reaction, so the sample here is death. Let's try to think of something more interesting. I don't think in my local database I actually have pain. I'll send that request, and what you'll see is here is an HTTP response for pain. The only information that it got, so this is assuming our app had the word pain, didn't know what it was, and was trying to create it with our backend service. We went out and we found information from WordNick in this instance that defined pain as an unpleasant sensation occurring on varying degree of severity, ... Oh, that sounds like a good definition. I'll probably vote it up. This is new, so obviously everything's voted at 0. But that kind of gives you an idea of an ability to create. Similarly, you can ask questions of it. So yeah, I mean, I think at a high level, what I tried to help with was defining these API endpoints, understanding how all the pieces fit together, including our interactions with the external APIs, working some with DevOps to understand how we do some of our continuous integration deployment, and then making that a reality. So that's it for me.
All right, thanks, Trey.
Yep.
That was a good overview. I want to give a shout out to Walt Spence. He's been on the whole time. He asked a question. Our DevOps man, Jeremy, answered it. Yes, we are in Northern Virginia. So let's move over to part of our front-end development team. We've got Mark on the left and Jeremy on the right. You guys want to give us your Twitter handles? Start with Jeremy.
LUNDSTJB.
If you have to spell it
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
I'm Mark_Ostrander.
Nobody's easier.
Still way too long. So you guys want to just give us a high-level snapshot of what you guys have been working on for the last 6 or 7 days?
Sure. A lot of my piece has been the front end, hooking in most of the HTML and CSS into templates for it to be angularized, where Jeremy's been working in hooking in a lot of the data for Angular, and just kind of meshing those two pieces together to work as of right now.
Yep, still lots of work to go, but it's been a lot of fun.
So talk to us about the process. What have been your favorite parts of working on this challenge?
Definitely learning a lot about, I guess, connecting the front to the back end and just everything in between. I mean, it's been a learning experience.
Yeah, you really go from a key concept to sketching it out, to making a mock-up, to developing a template, to refining, to reiterating, and back and forth. So you kind of get the full scope of the project in a very short window.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work, but it has been educational the most.
Yes, to say the least.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm going to move over to Patrick. He's over here. Patrick, you want to start by giving us your Twitter handle?
Hello, Meerkat. You can follow me at Patrick Nolan with 1K. And that's that.
All right.
Yep.
So same question for you. What about the, what's your experience been like the last few days working on this dev challenge?
Oh, it's been great. I think my favorite part is probably working with our sponsors on this project, Chick-fil-A, 5 Hour Energy, Red Bull. They've treated us pretty well, keep us running. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, a little product.
No,
placement.
I'm just kidding.
shameless plug for
Please
for Red
send
Bull.
free 24 packs of Red Bull. Thank you.
No, it's been awesome. It's a unique chance where you can sit down and work into the night and hack on something for a week straight with your team. You learn a lot about them, a lot about what their strengths and weaknesses are, and then I think we really found out how we work together as a team and how we all come together to accomplish something awesome, and that's Drake. So
Cool.
it's been an exciting time.
All right. Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah.
Finally, our DevOps engineer, Jeremy Altman. Jeremy's been answering some of the questions that have been coming in.
Indeed.
So he is at KillerBGT on Twitter. You want to give us kind of your thoughts on how this week has gone?
Sure. Just real quick, a little bit about what I focused on. Was mostly the DevOps side of things. Just trying to hook everything together, give us continuous integration, continuous development. So we're using a lot of different tools for this particular project. Some of those are like Travis CI for continuous integration, Code Climate to give us code analysis, quality analysis, and coverage. We're using AWS to host our application. We're actually deploying using Docker containers. So my focus has just been trying to bring all of that together. So it's actually been a really exciting week. Team's put in a lot of hard work, but we've learned a lot of things. Had a really fun time, working on this challenge. So hopefully it'll be good for us.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna come back around here with Trey for a quick second.
Oh man.
So we're in the process of sort of wrapping this up. We want to show the.
We do. This has changed. This has changed
a little bit.
A little bit now. We don't highlight Rhinoria, but it just happens to be on this instant that I'm showing locally. And I wanted to give just a very brief. The UI team could do a better job of this, but demo of it. So earlier we added the word pain into our backend dictionary. So we should find that somewhere if we can find an adverse reaction that has it. So let's say we wanted to search for Advil. Pain is in there. So as we flip that card over, so this is the part we all know what pain is, but we can look at some of these that we might not know as much. Dyspnea, who not sure what that is, but you can start to get the idea that as you go through the app, you can flip over certain cards and get better definitions of what these words mean. One thing that we're working on, and it's actually we had to do a quick pivot and not show 8 cards, but we're going to show fewer, is to have some of those UI features that allow for us to go thumb up, thumb down. Let's see, which definition of pain do I like? I want to thumb up that one, or I don't see any that I want to create a new one. Some of those features are still going in. You'll notice that it's not just the cards though with the definitions. We're also creating a dashboard that shows some relevant information, some of the top manufacturers of the drug and or the key ingredients of that drug. Some graphs over time of how frequently those reactions occur. And then other supplementary information about where those have been received, breakdown by gender, etc.
All right, that's cool.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to flip the phone back around to close. I do want to give a shout out to our one team member who's not here, John O'Brien. I think, what's his Twitter handle?
At J O'Brien III.
At J O'Brien III. He had to get on a plane this morning at 6 a.m., so he's going to see this on YouTube. But he's been obviously an integral part of our team, playing the position of product owner. Anytime you're doing a development effort like this, it's important to have a product holder a product owner to represent stakeholders and drive the decision making process, and that's been the key role that John's played this week. So we're almost exactly at 15 minutes. So this is pretty good as far as our 5:40:15 is concerned. So we want to give a shout out to all of the other Agile BPA dev teams that are out there. We know that there are a ton of people working on this and trying to put good products in front of the government. And ultimately the goal is to help the government do things better, get better capabilities from a technology perspective. And this BPA, I'm getting photobomb back here, but this BPA is going to be, I think, a real asset for the government once it gets awarded and gets up and running. So I know everybody's pushing really hard this week, and I think we're all looking forward to a weekend of relaxation. So that's it from 540 HQ today. Join us next Wednesday, 7 a.m. We'll be back more of our traditional working in our Studio 540 setting, talking about technology and government, things that are making a difference. Again, I'm Chris at 540 Co.
I'm at Trey White. Last shout out is if you actually want to see our app running, go to DRE, D-R-E, Drug Reactions Explained. That's what that stands for, .540.co. That's 540.co. And then also we have our repo on GitHub. We'll put it out there. If you want to fork it and submit your own request, pull request, by all means do that. Know that we have to lock down our repo at a certain time for this proposal. So, but if you did that, that'd be awesome. That's it for me. Peace out. Thanks for joining, guys.
All right, peace.
I want it.